शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. May humble obeisance to all the Vaishnavas on the call. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. We are in Canto 2, Chapter 9. And Chapter 9 is where we saw the Chatushloki. We have successfully completed the Chatushloki in 4 sessions. So I hope it was understandable by everybody. It's a very philosophical topic, but then if we just keep reading it again and again, there is some scope of understanding. So the Chatushloki spoke about Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. And we saw how Prayojana is love of God and Abhideya is the process of Bhakti. And with Sambandha, we are trying to establish our relationship with Krishna. So basically 33, 34, 35, 36 was Chatushloki. And now we are moving on to verse number 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Text number 37. एतन्मतं समातिष्ठ परमेन समाधिना भवान् कल्पविकल्पेषु न विमुह्यति कर्हिचित्. Anyone would like to read translation, please?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, please.
Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. O Brahma, just follow this conclusion by fixed concentration of mind, and no pride will disturb you, neither in the partial nor in the final devastation. Hare Krishna.
That was very nice. Krishna has imparted knowledge unto Brahma, and Krishna is also giving Brahma assurance that don't worry, just follow my conclusion. Just follow these 4 verses very sincerely with fixed concentration of mind. So Krishna is telling, when I'm giving you an instruction, all that you have to do is you have to take it as it is, and you should follow it with a fixed concentration of mind without any deviation. So when he says fixed concentration of mind, he is telling Brahma that you have to really take it as it is. Don't try to speculate. Just take all the teachings as it is. And when we take the teachings of Krishna as it is, then with that comes the blessings of not being bewildered at any point in time. Because if we try to speculate and we are trying to figure out our own ways, if we are using our limited intelligence in deciphering what Krishna has to say, then there is a problem. We are using our mundane intelligence, right? But here he says, just follow this conclusion with a fixed concentration of mind, and you will not be bewildered. No pride will disturb you, neither in the partial nor in the final devastation. So, generally, when there is a partial or final devastation, Brahma gets affected, right? So, Brahma is in a position where he's going to get affected because of the devastation, because this is Brahma's creation, right? So when something that we have created or something that we are responsible for is being disturbed, then there is a question of being disturbed. We have all experienced that, right? When we have created something or we are responsible for something, if we are very attached to something that we have done and there is a disturbance, then that disturbance affects us, right? It affects us very much. So he says, oh Brahma, just try to follow this, whatever I've told you, with samadhi, with fixed concentration. And whether it is a kalpa or a vikalpa, whether it is an immediate devastation or a final devastation, na vimuhyati karhichit. So there is no question of you getting disturbed. Okay. So let's see the purport. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he talks about Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. Why Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter? Because Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter talks about Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. Anyone knows which are the verses? You don't mean, like, if you know the numbers, that's great. Otherwise, if you know where Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita begins.
10.89, 10, 11, Mataji.
Yes,
Aham Sarvasya Prabhu.
10.89. Yes, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. Very nice. So in the purport, Prabhupada, now that we have just finished discussing Chatushloki Bhagavatam, he is now discussing Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. So he says in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has summarized the entire Bhagavad Gita in 4 verses. Similarly, here what we saw, these 4 verses is a summary of the entire Bhagavatam. So what happened in the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, beginning with Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, we see how Krishna is telling, I am everything, everything is coming from me. Similarly, in these 4 verses in the Bhagavatam, starting with Aham Evasam Eva Gre, he's telling the purpose of the entire book of Srimad Bhagavatam. So whether it be Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, both these texts, who's the ultimate speaker? It is Sri Krishna. Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we say, okay, Shukadev Goswami, it is the Supreme Lord, right? So whether it be Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, ultimately the speaker is the Supreme Lord. And when the Supreme Lord speaks, we accept it as it is. However, Prabhupada points out that there are many grammarians and non-devotee people who have tried to give in different kinds of false interpretations for these 4 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. But the Lord has advised Brahma not to be deviated from what he has taught him. So he says, just fix your mind on this, understand it very understand the essence of what I'm telling in Samadhi. He's telling him, don't get deviated. So the Lord taught these 4 nuclear verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahma received this knowledge. So we should not play around with the knowledge that the Lord has transferred. When the Lord says aham evasam evagre, when he says aham, there are some impersonalists who say that aham is me. Aham means I meaning we, living entity. But then all this is jugglery of the impersonalists, and the strict followers of Srimad Bhagavatam, they take it as it is. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, if Krishna is saying aham evasam evagri, that aham means Krishna himself. So a Bhagavata or a devotee will accept things as they are. But however, people who are impersonalists, they try to interpret everything according to the way they like. They interpret the Bhagavatam with their poor fund of knowledge, with their grammar and dry speculation. They use so many rules of grammar and they try to suit the content to their expectations. But the Lord is telling Brahma here. Not only is he telling Brahma, he's telling Brahma and all the future devotees in the disciplic succession of Brahma that we should not be misled with these words of Krishna. We should not be misled by the interpretations of these grammarians or the impersonalists. We should just try to take this in parampara system. No one should try to squeeze out the meaning of imperfect mundane knowledge by imperfect mundane knowledge. We all have imperfect mundane knowledge, and with our mundane knowledge, we are trying to analyze what the Lord could have told. But that is not the way of understanding Shabda Brahman. The Guru or the bona fide spiritual master is the one who's competent to teach the disciple the right way of understanding the Vedic literature. So we should take a bona fide spiritual master and we should understand things under his guidance. Okay, we should not be like impersonalists and try to reach any conclusion that the Lord has spoken. And Brahma was given the direct, strict instruction. Oh, Brahma, you listen to me and take these teachings as it is. And Prabhupada very nicely here he mentions the mundane wranglers are surprised that one can detach himself from the world of sense gratification, and thus they attempt to be fixed in God realization. Any attempt that a person tries to fix himself in God realization, these attempts appear to them as mysticism. So when an impersonalist sees that there is a very surrendered devotee and he is accepting things as they are, these impersonalists, they just think, oh, he doesn't have any intelligence. He's just attracted to some sort of mysticism. But that is not the point here. These devotees, they are in the Brahmabhuta stage of life. They are Atmaramas. They are very, very satisfied. And they just accept Srimad Bhagavatam as it is. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogitaha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. In the completely satisfied stage of life that is exhibited by full detachment from the world of sense enjoyment, as a result of performing devotional service, one can understand the signs of God at a liberated state. So these are the devotees who are qualified to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. And again, in the same Chatashloki of Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Krishna is telling dadami buddhi yogam. He says, just listen to what I am saying. These devotees who are priti purvakam, who are filled with love for me, they do bhajan. That is, they just worship me. How are they worshipping me? Satata yuktanam, continuously, with full concentration. They are constantly engaged in my bhajan. To such people, I will give the understanding by which they can come to me. So when we listen to Krishna and his instructions, Krishna will invest his potency in a way that we can understand what he's trying to tell us. Okay, so Mataji, actually there is a just give me 1 second. I'll finish this purport, and then I'll go to the okay. In Gopal Tapani Upanishad, it is said, Gopavesho me Purusha Purushatat Avir Bhuva. That is, the Lord appeared before Brahma as a cowherd boy. That is the original personality of Sri Krishna, Govinda, who is later described by Brahmaji in this Brahma Samhita, Chintamani Prakara Sadmashu Kalpa Vriksha Lakshavrateshu Surabhir Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambhrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, it is said that the supreme personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna himself. Okay, now this verse is talking about how Krishna has given the instruction to Brahma. The first thing that we understood in this purport is how we should take instructions as it is. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned Krishna as the original personality of Godhead, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. Even in the Chatushloki of Bhagavad Gita, also the same concept is presented, that Krishna is the original source and devotees worship Krishna, who is the original source. Okay, Bhagavad Gita is stating that, Srimad Bhagavatam is stating that, are the Upanishads also stating that? Yes, in the Shruti Shastras, it's not just that it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, because Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata, though it is Upanishad, it is in the format of an Upanishad, still some scholars will classify it to be Smriti, meaning they will classify it to be a part of Mahabharata. While the Puranas, they have already classified it as Smriti. Sometimes people will ask, where is the Shruti Praman? Where is the Praman from Vedas and Upanishads? For that, here we see in the Gopalatapani Upanishad, it is said, Gopavesho me Purushaha Purusastat Avirbhuva. The Lord appeared before Brahma as a cowherd boy. That is the original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna Govinda, who's later described by Brahma in the Brahma Samhita. So in Gopalatapani Upanishad also, we see that the Lord had given, this cowherd boy had given vision to Brahma as a cowherd boy. The Supreme Lord gave vision to Brahma as a cowherd boy. Not just here in this context of Srimad Bhagavatam. We see even in the Gopalatapani Upanishad. Where else do we see? We see in the famous Brahma Samhita 5.29, Chintamani Prakara Sadmashu Kalpa Vriksha Lakshavrateshu Surabhira Bipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Brahma is worshipping the Supreme Lord as Sri Krishna in the topmost Vaikuntha planet known as Goloka Vrindavan. So there also in the Brahma Samhita also the Lord has revealed himself as being Gopal. Okay, he's the Supreme Lord. He has revealed himself. And what is he doing there? He's taking care of the cows. That is what he's doing. Lakshavrateshu Surabhir Abhipalayan. He's doing Abhipalayan of what? Of many Surabhi cows. And Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. He's being served by hundreds and thousands of gopis who are serving him with love and respect. This is the original personality of Godhead, Krishnasthu Bhagavan Swayam. So, the idea, the first concept that is presented in the Chatushloki is that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, right? Sambandha means what we understood. Aham eva se eva agre, we saw that Krishna is representing and he's telling that I am the Supreme Lord. The same concept we saw is there in Bhagavad Gita also. In Bhagavad Gita also, Chatushloki, he said, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, from me everything came. Then in Gopalatapani Upanishad also, he is telling that he is the Supreme Lord and he is showing the same revelation to the same Brahma. Again, we see the same revelation being shown to Brahma in the Brahma Samhita. So from all this, we can understand Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not just some sort of Amsha, but he is the Supreme Lord, the original Lord himself. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavata means consciousness of the Supreme Personality of God, it's Sri Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the sound representation of the Lord as much as Bhagavad Gita is. Thus, the conclusion of Bhagavatam is the science of the Lord in which the Lord and his abode is perfectly realized. So, this was the verse that speaks about how one should receive the knowledge given by Krishna. Krishna, when we receive the knowledge from Krishna, we should receive it with a fixed concentration of mind. We should not use word jugglery. We should not become like an impersonalist. And we should understand that this knowledge is given by the Supreme Lord himself. He is the original Lord. It is confirmed in various scriptures that he is the original personality of Godhead. So that original Lord himself is giving this knowledge. So when we listen to this with a fixed concentration of mind, then pride will not disturb us. We will not get bewildered. We will not get bewildered under any circumstances. So he is giving all this instructions to whom? To Brahma. He is telling, since you have listened to me nicely, I will give you the blessing that you will not be bewildered at the time of devastation. Okay. We'll go ahead to text 38. Sri Shuka Uvacha Sampradishyaivam Arjano Jnananam Paramishtinam Pashyatastasya Tadrupam Atmano Anyarunadyara Dhari. Anyone would like to read translation?
Translation Jai Shri Prabhu. Shukadev Goswami said to Maharaj Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, after being seen in his transcendental form, instructing Brahmaji, the leader of the living entities, disappeared. Hari.
So all this was being narrated to whom? All this was being narrated to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was the one who started off this conversation saying that I have so many questions. I want answers to all these different questions. And that is when one full chapter of questions he asked, right? Chapter 8 was just questions. He just went on asking questions. And to answer these questions, he started off with the conversation between Brahma and the Supreme Lord. So now Parikshit Maharaj is again listening to Shukdev Goswami, and Shukdev Goswami tells Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, after he saw this beautiful form of Krishna and he got nice instructions, the Supreme Lord disappeared. The leader of the living entities, he had disappeared. So this scene was complete. Okay, now the Lord here, he's called as a Jana. Jana means what? What is the meaning of Jana?
The people in general.
People in general. Ajana means?
Who is not amongst the common population?
Oh, yeah, correct. Very nice. Ajana. Ajana means he's not like an ordinary man. That is Ajana, right? So Ajana means the supreme person. He's showing his transcendental form. He's not showing a mundane form. Atmano Rupam. He's showing his transcendental form. Therefore, he is called as Ajana. Impersonalists, when they see Ajana, they think, okay, he has no form. But actually, this is not having no form. Ajana means he is the best among all the Janas. He is the supreme among all the Jananam. Jananam, the topmost among all the Janas is called as Ajana. So that's why in the Shrutis we hear this mantra, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. So it is said that Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. So one, this is the Supreme Lord. He is the one who became many, meaning the rest of them are his expansions. So he is the topmost of everybody. So there is no question of impersonal features of the Supreme Lord because he is always Chetana. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. He's always cognizant. So when we are saying he's full of Chetana, how can you say he's impersonal? He's not impersonal. He has a form. In fact, in this world, everything has a form. You think of land, water, tree, mountain, river, man, animal, bird. Everything has some quality. It has some form. So you can imagine the leader of all this, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's complete with form and knowledge. Sat Chit Ananda, everything is there. He's not Nirvishesha, he has all the Visesham. Okay, that is the form of the Lord. So this Supreme Personality of Godhead is the leader of the living entities, and he broadcast this message to Brahma. And this Brahma, how did he transfer this message? He transferred this message in turn to Narada. And this Narada, he in turn taught the same to Vyasadeva. And then Vyasadeva taught this to Shukadev Goswami. So through Shukadev Goswami's grace and by the mercy of Parikshit, we all are given the Srimad Bhagavatam to learn the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So this knowledge is given by Ajana, who is Lord Hari. This Hari, he gave this knowledge to Brahma and then he disappeared. And it didn't stop there. Brahma in turn gave it to his son Narada. From his son, where did it go? It went to Vyasadeva. And we know Vyasadeva saw all this in his meditation when he was instructed by Narada in the first canto. In the first canto, in 3 chapters, there is the samvad between Narada and Vyasa. Right? Through that, through that samvad of Narada and Vyasa, Vyasadeva was enlightened and he had the vision of the Supreme Lord, just like how Brahma had the vision. Vyasadeva also got the vision. But how did he get the vision? He got it through the channel of Narada Muni's mercy, right? So Vyasadeva also, he got this vision. Then he taught it to Shukdev Goswami. And through Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit is hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. And through Shukdev Goswami's mouth, we are all hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam as it is. Okay. So this is a very wonderful Guru Parampara. अंतर्हितेन्द्रियायार्थ हरये विहिताञ्जलै सर्वभूतमयो विश्वं ससर्जेदं सपूर्ववत्. Anyone would like to write translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji Pranam. I can read. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. On the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is the object of transcendental enjoyment for the senses of devotees, Brahma, with folded hands, began to recreate the universe, full with living entities as it was previously. Hare Krishna.
So on the disappearance of the Supreme Lord, what happened? Brahma, he took up his task. With folded hands, he began to recreate this universe as it was before. Which means, in this verse, we see as it was before, Purvavat. That means this creation is happening continuously. There is creation and destruction, and this goes on and on. Right? So now every time Brahma is born, or Brahma every day, not when he's born, but every day of Brahma takes knowledge from Krishna and he begins to recreate. He recreates the universe, that is, and he populates it full of living entities. Okay, so this is the job of Brahma. So after the Supreme Lord enlightened him and he left, Brahma was very, very inspired and he began to recreate. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, he is the object for fulfilling senses for all devotees. Why? In this verse, you see the word Indriya Arthaya Haraye. Indriya Arthaya Haraye is mentioned. The Supreme Lord is the object of transcendental enjoyment for the senses of devotees. How are our senses enjoying? For a devotee, sense enjoyment is through Krishna. So Hari becomes Indriya Arthaya Hari. That means through Krishna we are enjoying our senses. Krishna is the object of fulfilling the senses of all the living entities. For any devotee, sense gratification is somehow or the other connected to Krishna. They don't like to have sense gratification disconnected from Krishna. When you eat, devotees, we like to eat Krishna Prasadam and then we enjoy our senses. When we see, we like to see the form of the Lord and we enjoy our senses. When we hear, we like to hear about Krishna and we feel that is the fulfillment of my listening sense. Right? This goes on and on and on for devotees. So that's why here the word Indriya Arthaya Haraye Vihita Anjalaihi. This Brahma, he was folding his palms and he was paying Anjali. Anjali means like this mudra is called as Anjali. Jalayati iti Anjali. By this mudra, the Lord is completely moved and he tears up when we show this mudra in front of him. Jalayati. Is Vishnu. Jalayati means it shakes him up, like he starts crying. Jalayati iti Anjali. So what was Brahma doing? He folded his hands in front of Krishna. And Krishna is the fulfiller of all the transcendental senses of Brahma. So Brahma felt completely satisfied. He folded his palms in front of Krishna. Because Krishna is satisfied, Brahma is feeling satisfied. And with the blessings of Krishna, Brahma begins to create. So the purpose of our senses is to engage our senses in Krishna consciousness. This is what is mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. Akshno tva drishadarshanam hi tano tva drishagatra sanga jitva tva drishakirtanam hi sudurlabha bhagavatahi loke. O devotee of the Lord, the purpose of the visual sense is fulfilled simply by seeing you. And to touch your body is the fulfillment of the bodily touch. The tongue is meant for glorifying your qualities because in this world, a pure devotee of the Lord is very, very difficult to find. So, originally, the senses of living entities, they are meant to enjoy. But the perfection of enjoyment is when these senses are used in the loving transcendental service of the Lord. So, when is our senses used to the best possible extent? When we are using it in the service of the Lord. The impersonalists, again, Prabhupada talks about them. He says the impersonalists, they don't want anything. They do neti neti. They don't want to enjoy anything. They want to reject sense enjoyment. But that is very abnormal because the senses are constantly demanding, right? So the best way to utilize our senses is to use these senses in the direct service of the Lord. So now Brahma is using all his senses in what? In the service of the Lord. He wants to recreate for the sake of living entities in the service of Krishna. He feels Krishna is going to be pleased by this. Why will Krishna be pleased if Brahma recreates? Because Brahma is going to recreate for the sake of all the living entities. Why should we come into this world? Because when we come into this world, we are given a body, and with this body, we can utilize this body in the service of Krishna through our senses, and we can go home back to Godhead. So Brahma is doing this service for all the living entities so that all the living entities can eventually be delivered by using their senses in Krishna consciousness. So all these great servants of the Lord like Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, all of them, what is their business? They are doing Mahat Seva. They are serving all the living entities. They are creating a platform for all the living entities so that we living entities can somehow or the other utilize our senses. First of all, we need a body, we need senses. Then we should engage our senses in Krishna consciousness, and then we can get delivered. So they are doing a huge service to humanity. This is what these great souls are doing. They have directly received the knowledge from Krishna and they are helping all living entities, just like our spiritual masters. Our spiritual masters, they are very, very close to the Supreme Lord. They are in the direct service of the Lord. But what is the biggest service that they are doing? They are trying to deliver all the conditioned souls. And when they deliver all the conditioned souls, that is when Krishna is most pleased, right? So this is the nature of these advanced personalities. So Prabhupada, again, he goes back to talking about the impersonalists, and he say these impersonalists, they try to avoid using the senses. But imagine if if you are having, I think Prabhupada talks about an eye defect. Okay, so if we have a diseased condition for the eye, what is the solution for the diseased condition of the eye? Can you pluck out the eye and say that the condition has improved? No. What do? We treat the eye with something positive. So similarly, our senses, you cannot reject them. You cannot say, okay, from tomorrow I'm going to give up. I'm going to pluck out each of my senses and throw it out. It's not possible. We have to utilize these senses in the service of the Lord. For us to utilize these senses in the service of the Lord, first we need a body. And how do we get that? We get it through the grace of Brahma. So Brahma was doing a great service. Through him, so many people are getting delivered. Okay, so that was verse number 39. So let's go to verse number 40. So all these verses, they're talking about what happened after Krishna spoke to Brahma and Krishna disappeared. Brahma was very, very moved. He folded his palms and he decided, now I'm going to engage in the service of the Lord. By this recreation, everybody will be delivered. Such a beautiful thought, right? So let's go to text 40. प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिरेकदा नियमान् भद्रं प्रजानम् अविच्छन् अतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया. Translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thus, once upon a time, the forefather of living entities and the father of religiousness, Lord Brahma, situated himself in acts of regulative principles, desiring self-interest for the welfare of all living entities. Hare Krishna.
So this Prajapati, he's called as Prajapati. Who's called as Prajapati? The forefather. Forefather is Brahma. Prajapati, Dharmapati. Now, he's not only Prajapati, he's the forefather of all living entities, but he is also Dharmapati. He's the father of all religious life. And he follows Yama Niyama. Niyama Yama, rules and regulations and principles of sense control. So this is the nature of Brahma. Brahma, he is the forefather of all living entities. He is also the father of righteousness and religiosity. And he engaged in proper regulative principles, avoiding all sinful activities, and he engaged in tapasya of creation for the welfare of the living entities. So many different adjectives is given for Brahma. This is the exalted position of Brahma. And Prabhupada says this exalted position of Brahma cannot be attained if one cannot take up regulative life of rules and regulations. If a person is having unrestricted sense gratification, then his life is very animalistic. But Brahma, he's such a great personality. He had complete sense control and he used the sense control for executing higher duties. So there are many people who follow very strict moral principles. But then if you're just following strict moral principles just for yourself to prove that you're a high moralist, what is the use? You should follow moral principles to become a devotee of the Lord. So Prabhupada says, on the other hand, one who is not a devotee of the Lord, and if he has all the good qualities, what is the use of those good qualities? What is he going to achieve from those good qualities? In fact, the same discussion is there in Bhagavad Gita in the 13th chapter. In the 13th chapter, in the first few verses, a list of good qualities are mentioned. What are some good qualities that one should cultivate? 13th chapter, verses 8 to 12. One should become a perfect gentleman. One should not pose himself simply to be a religionist. One should not become a source of anxiety to others. One should learn forbearance. One should avoid duplicity and so on. So these beautiful qualities are given in the 13th chapter. It is wonderful. Yes, we should all cultivate these qualities. Now, this is the very fundamental basis of Krishna consciousness. Nowadays, we call ourselves devotees, but we don't even have any fundamental good qualities. That's, it's getting very sarcastic these days. People are posing themselves to be very big devotees, but what are the basic things that they should have? It's not there. Basic good qualities are all missing. It's very sad. But at the same time, if you have all the good qualities and you're not a devotee, that is also bad. Right? So we should have all the good qualities and we should also be a good devotee. Then it is of some value. So that is what Brahma is doing. He's got all the good qualities. He's the father of religiousness. But he is also very, very worried for the Krishna consciousness of all the devotees, of all the people. He's desiring self-interest for the welfare of all the living entities. This is the nature of Brahma. So the pure devotees like Brahma and persons in the chain of disciplic succession, they do not simply give instructions. They show by example. They have all these good qualities, they show by example, and then they give instructions to their followers. So everyone should take lessons from Brahma because there are many so-called leaders. They are either just following Krishna consciousness, not having any good qualities, and preaching to the world that, oh, you should develop this quality, that quality, you should become a great devotee, or they're having all the good qualities, but they are not devoted enough to be the right leader. So both these things are bad. You should have good qualities, you should have proper moral values. At the same time, you should be a devotee if you really want to benefit everybody. Okay, so it's a nice lesson that we all can learn from Brahma. So he was very concerned for the welfare of all the living entities. Tam Naradaha Priyatamo Riktha Dhanam Manuvrata Sushrushamanaha Shilena Parasharyena Damena Cha. Anyone would like to try translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Narada, the most dear of the inherited sons of Brahma, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. So he's strictly following the instructions. What did his father tell him? His father told him, listen to this very carefully, follow it to the dot. So similarly, Brahma, he was very ready to serve his father and he had good qualities, meekness, sense control, and he was showing by example. He was a good child. Okay. मायं विविदिशन् विष्णोर्मायेशय महामुनि महाभागवतो राजन् पितरं पर्योतोषयत्. Anyone would like to read translation?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
42. Narada very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Vishnu, the master of all energies. For Narada was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees, O king.
Yeah. So now Brahma, his father was the Supreme Lord. Brahma got the knowledge from the Supreme Lord. Where did Brahma transmit the knowledge? Brahma transmitted the knowledge to his son Narada. And Narada was also a very good son. He always wanted to please his father and he wanted to know about the Supreme Lord. So he learned this knowledge from his father, Brahma. So we know Brahma has many sons. The Chatursanas, that is Sanat Kumar, Sanandan, Sanatan, Sanaka. These are the four Kumaras, right? So they're called as the Chatursanas. These are the sons of Brahma. Brahma has other sons also, like Daksha and others. Brahma has sons like Narada and others. Now, Brahma had given all the knowledge to all his sons, but some sons had become specialists in certain departments. Like, for example, Daksha, he became an expert in executing karma kanda activities. Narada, he became an expert in devotional service, Upasana Kanda. And the Chatursanas, they became experts in Jnana Kanda. So we know very well that Chatursanas, they are an empowered incarnation of the Lord of in the aspect of Jnana. Similarly, Narada Muni is empowered with Bhakti. Daksha was empowered to create, further create. Daksha means one who is expert in procreation. He's also one of the Prajapatis, right? So like this, Brahma, he had many sons. And to his many sons, he gave some expertise to each one of them. Now, among all these sons, there is one very, very special son who is Narada. Narada was the one who inherited from his father Bhakti, devotional service. That's why he is empowered by Bhakti. They say he is the Bhakti incarnation of the Lord, right? So he had inherited this, and he was the one who delivered so many devotees. We know the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but a tribute to Narada Muni, because Narada Muni, in every canto he appears, in every canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, somehow or the other, Vyasadeva has ensured he brings the name of a spiritual master in every canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He just did a tribute to his spiritual master. And what is his spiritual master Narad Muni doing? He's going and delivering everybody. He's not only given knowledge to the great Vyasadeva, who's disseminating knowledge to all of us, but he has also given knowledge to vast number of devotees, people who are born in demoniac family like Prahlad, to a great prince like Dhruva, who was after material enjoyment, to the hunter Kirata or the Mrigari, who didn't even have any idea of even basic good humane qualities. So all these people were disciples of Narada Muni. Narada Muni has so many different disciples and his preaching methodologies are completely different. Each person, he has a different strategy. With Vyasadeva, what did he do? He chastised Vyasadeva. He knows Vyasadev's potential. He knows, oh, this Vyasa, he's capable of doing much more. So, in the name of chastisement, he encouraged him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam. When it goes to Dhruva, he was thinking, oh, Dhruva is a small child. First, let me tell him to play. But when he saw Dhruva's determination, he ensured that he guided Dhruva properly. Similarly, when Prahalad was in the womb itself, he knew this is the right time to preach to Prahalad, and he was able to deliver Prahalad. And when it came to the hunter, Mrigari, he thought, oh, Mrigari is not going to understand any big philosophy. So let me just take care of his basic needs. So he just tells, oh, Mrigari, you give up your bow and then you don't worry about your food. I will take care of it. So he knew how to preach, at what level to preach. And he had disciples at different levels. This is the nature of a real spiritual master. So Narada is very, very dear to his son, and he made everybody a first class devotee. Prabhupada quotes Macchitta Madgata Prana Bhodayanta Parasparam Katayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. This is also one of the Chatushloki verses of Bhagavad Gita. Right? This is about the devotees, what they do. Macchitta Madgata Prana Bhodayanta Parasparam. What are these devotees doing? They're continuously just discussing my topics. Bodhayanta Parasparam. They're completely absorbed in me and they're discussing my topics. Kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They're always in bliss talking about me. This is what Narada Muni is doing for everybody. So, what should we do? We should just follow the disciplic succession because we have such a glorious disciplic succession. We have Brahma and we have Narada and Vyasa, and from Vyasa it is going to Shukadeva and so on. So, we are in this very wonderful disciplic succession. So, all that we have to do is take advantage of it. Okay. So, what we saw, Brahma started creation. Brahma also transmitted the knowledge to his son, who is Narada Muni, who is a very, very special devotee. Tushtam nishamya pitaram lokanam pratimamaham devarshihi paripapracha bhavanyan pritchati. Anybody for translation?
Translation Jai Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Narad also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied.
Okay. So this great sage Narada, he inquired in detail. When Brahma was giving him knowledge, he took all the instructions in great detail. And he felt very satisfied. So this is the process of understanding the spiritual knowledge. It is not just, Prabhupada says, it's not like asking a question from a schoolmaster. Because schoolmasters in the modern days, they are paid agents, right? Lecturers and professors, we are giving them some money, they're coming and they're giving instructions. But how concerned are they with us, right? Whether that we should really progress. And especially nobody cares about the soul. But a spiritual master is very worried about us. And the inquiry made by the disciple is also not like, okay, sir, I have a question. It's not like that. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So these tattvadarshinies, they are giving the knowledge when they become pleased. When do they become pleased? When you do pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. With, in a surrendered way. When we do service and inquire unto him, unto them they become pleased. It's not that we pay them some money, you give them $100 and then they give you a mantra, and with that mantra you're going to get delivered. It doesn't work like that. So these great advanced souls, they are ready to help us spiritually. But to attract their mercy, what should we do? We should serve them and inquire unto them submissively. We should satisfy them. So similarly, Narada Muni had satisfied Brahmaji. Though Brahma was his own father, still he had inquired from him and he received the knowledge very respectfully. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata gurau tasyaite kahita hi artha para prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto one who has unflinching devotion to the Lord and to the spiritual master does transcendental knowledge become automatically revealed. So many of us, we have spiritual masters. We all listen to the spiritual master's lecture. But how many of us really have realizations when the spiritual master is speaking? We will have realizations, our hearts will move, we will have realizations, we will have relishment only if we have unflinching faith and devotion to the spiritual master's words. Right? If you're not hearing with faith, if you're not having trust in the spiritual master, then how can the secrets be revealed in our heart? Every word the spiritual master speaks will reveal something in the heart. It has to. It is very relishable. If it's not creating a change in our heart, then probably we don't have faith in what we are listening. We have to reassess ourselves. Brahmaji, as a disciple of the Supreme Lord, he received knowledge and he imparted it to his son and disciple Narada. Similarly, Narada handed over it to Vyasa and so on. And in this entire chain, there was complete faith in what was being received. And how was the disciples? The disciples were very well behaved. They were meek and obedient. They were self-controlled. They knew what they are hearing from their spiritual master. Their senses were controlled. It's not that their senses were reckless. Prabhupada says nowadays Goswami has become a last name for many people. But Goswami means one who has all his senses under control. And the spiritual master should also be a Goswami. The disciple should also be a Goswami. So here we see Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, all of them were Goswamis. Their senses were controlled and they had full faith in what they were listening. That's why so much was revealed in their hearts. You know, there are hundreds and thousands of disciples for one spiritual master, but one devotee makes sudden advancement, extreme advancement, while another devotee just hears and makes no advancement. What is the difference between these two disciples? The difference is the amount of faith they have in the words of their spiritual master, how absorbed they are when the spiritual master speaks, how much it is transforming their heart, how much faith they have. So this is extremely important. Yes, we have a glorious Guru Parampara, but we should be very loyal and chaste to that Guru Parampara. That is when we can reap maximum benefits. Okay. Text 44. Tasmadidam bhagavatam puranam dashalakshanam proktam bhagavata praha prita putraya bhutakrit. Anyone would like to read translation?
I can read now. If no one is
Yes,
reading.
Prabhuji.
Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
I can read, Mataji. Thereupon, the supplementary Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the father, Brahma, to his son Narad.
So like this, the supplementary Vedic literature, Smriti Shastra, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam was described by Krishna to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasa, and so on. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is described as Dashalakshanam. It has 10 characteristics. What are these 10 characteristics? These 10 characteristics we will learn in the next chapter, chapter number 10. It will begin with the 10 characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshnam utayah manvantara ishanukata nirodha mukti ashraya. These are the 10 characteristics of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's a verse for memorization. All of us will learn that verse. But we will go there when we do that verse. It's in the 10th chapter, beginning of 10th chapter. So, but however, on the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he says this Srimad Bhagavatam was initially spoken in 4 verses and it has 10 characteristics. In the 4 verses, it is said that the Lord existed before creation And thus, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam also, it begins with the same Vedanta aphorism, Janmadhyasya Yata. What is the meaning of Janmadhyasya Yata? This is in the Vedanta Sutras. So the Vedanta Sutras, they begin with Atato Brahma Jijnasa. That is the first aphorism. Aphorism means a sutra, a statement, like a short note, okay? So a short phrase, you can say. It's called as an aphorism. So the first phrase is Atato Brahma Jijnasa. Now that you are here, inquire unto the Supreme. The next phrase is Janmadhyasya. Who's that Supreme? That Supreme is one from whom everything came. The second aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra is the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Janmadhyasya tonvayaditarataschatteshva vignaswarat. Right? So Janmadhyasya Yata is the beginning, and the 4 verses in which it is said that the Lord is root of everything, from the beginning of creation up to the supreme abode of the Lord, naturally explain the 10 characteristics. So the same Janmadhyasya is further elaborated in the Chatushloki, and the Chatushloki contains all the 10 characteristics. That is what this purport is explaining. So just because we have explained 4 verses, and the 4 verses has everything in it, it has the root, it explains how Krishna is the source of everything. It has all the 10 characteristics of the Bhagavatam embedded in it. Just because it has everything, it doesn't mean that just the 4 verses are enough. Why should I learn the entire Srimad Bhagavatam? The entire Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses, and does it mean that all these 18,000 minus this 4 verses are all a waste? 17,994 verses are useless? That is not the understanding. Why? Because though Brahma had heard these 4 verses was expanded further and further, right? It was expanded further, and all the devotees' realization is added, and we have these 18,000 verses. And these 18,000 verses, they were relished by Sriman Mahaprabhu himself. And Mahaprabhu instructed all that he had heard to Srila Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami further expanded it. And then Jiva Goswami expanded it. Further, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has written so many commentaries. So it has been commented and spoken by many, many great personalities. The Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not some sort of mundane literature by some author. It has unlimited strength. And even to this day, we cannot say we have completed Srimad Bhagavatam. We are all trying to hear Bhagavatam. We are trying to study Bhagavatam. We are having Bhakti Vaibhav classes, trying to master Bhagavatam. But who can say in this world that he has studied Bhagavatam in and out? Even if you have heard Bhagavatam 5 or 6 times, it is not sufficient. The next time you see Bhagavatam, it will appear newer and newer. Puranam Navamiti Puranam, right? One which is old that appears newer and newer is called as a Purana. That is the root word of Purana. Purananam Navamapi iti Purana, right? That which feels new every time, though it is very old. Every time you read, you feel it's new. That is a Purana. And this is Mahapurana. This is Amala Purana. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is the sound representation of God. And it is not any ordinary book. That is the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just because 4 verses are there and it's the root verse, it has everything in it, it doesn't mean that's the end of it. We should hear Bhagavatam over and over. Otherwise, why would Mahaprabhu and others keep doing it? Right? These are all glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. How Narada heard it from Brahma, how Brahma heard it from the Supreme Lord, and so on. Continuing. Naradaha praha munaye saraswatyastate nrupa dhyayate brahma paramam vyasayami tatejase. Translation, Emma?
Hare Krishna. Okay. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. In succession, O king, the great sage Narada instructed Srimad Bhagavatam unto the unlimitedly powerful Vyasadeva, who meditated in devotional service upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, on the bank of the river Saraswati. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So just the like succession is continuing here. From Narada, where did it go? It went to Vyasadeva, who was meditating on the banks of river Saraswati. And this is where we saw in the beginning of first canto how he had darshan of the Lord after hearing from Narada Muni. अतो महाभागभवानमोघदृक्शुचिश्रवा सत्यरतो धृतव्रत उरुक्रमस्याखिलबन्धमुक्तये समाधिनानाशुश्रुम तद्विचेष्टितम्. So, O greatly fortunate, pious philosopher, your name and fame are universal, and you are fixed in the absolute truth with spotless character and infallible vision. I ask you to meditate upon the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose activities are unparalleled. Who spoke this verse? Narada told this to Vyasadeva. Narada told Vyasa, I bless you. Now you meditate on the Lord, and everything will be revealed to you. Right? So that's how Vyasa actually got this knowledge through the mercy of Narada Muni. So this is the disciplic succession of the Brahma Sampradaya. And actually, Bhakti Yogis, we don't sit and meditate. We don't meditate on the impersonal Brahman. Rather, we engage our senses in Krishna conscious activities. But the process is bhakti only for everybody. Everybody is fixed on the thoughts of Krishna. That is only the process. So Narada Muni, he was a spiritual master of Vyasa. He knew the position of Vyasa. He knew the qualities of Vyasa, and he knew Vyasa can take up a great vow. And he asked Vyasa to meditate, and hence everything was revealed to him. So, depending on the nature of the devotee, different instructions could be given. But what is universal to us? It is universal for us to follow the Guru Parampara and engage in Krishna consciousness. That is universal instruction for all of us. And here, a very beautiful verse is quoted by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita. He says in Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter, when Arjuna realized the position of Krishna, he addressed Krishna in the following words. He said, Param Brahma Parandama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Majam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishayas Sarve Deva Rishis Naradattata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishimi. So Arjuna, he said, my dear Supreme Lord, you are the supreme absolute truth. You are the original person. You are eternal form of bliss and knowledge. And this is all confirmed not just by me seeing you. It is actually confirmed by great authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, and all of them. And not only that, you yourself have confirmed it. Right? When did he say this verse? After he heard the Chatushloki. After he heard the Chatushloki, he was convinced. Till then, Arjun kept asking so many different questions. Then he became completely convinced and he said, yeah, you have told it all in these 4 Chatushloki verses of Bhagavad Gita. You said how you are the source of everything. And you have declared it yourself. And not only have you declared it, I have heard it from the great sages. This is the power of Guru Parampara. Right? So he says the Guru Parampara has confirmed it that you are everything. So, like this, Vyasa, when he heard from Narada also, he just followed the instructions. He fixed his mind in meditation and then he saw the Supreme Lord, his internal energy, external energy, everything. He had the full darshan of the Lord. So, like this, everything was transferred unto Vyasadeva. The knowledge was dissipated unto him. Yad uthayam tvaya prashto virajat purushadidam yatasi tad upakhyaste prashnan anyamscha kritsanasha. Anyone for translation?
Hare Krishna. O King, your questions as to how the universe became manifested from the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, as well as other questions, I shall answer in detail by explanation of the 4 verses already mentioned.
So this
Hare
is
Krishna.
the last verse of this chapter. Thank you, Prabhu. This is the last verse of this chapter. And Shukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, you asked a question about how the universe comes from the gigantic form of the Lord. So there are so many other questions you asked. I will answer all that in detail by expanding these 4 verses. So the expansion of those 4 verses, the Chatushloki, is nothing but the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. The entire Bhagavatam is giving answers to Parikshit Maharaj's questions in the previous chapter. And what is the Srimad Bhagavatam? Prabhupada says in the purport, it is the transcendental literature that is the ripened fruit of Vedic literature, and everything is there in the Bhagavatam. Universal affairs is there, everything, whatever you want, Krishna consciousness, science of the soul, everything is available in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the answers, the questions are asked by a great personality, Parikshit Maharaj. Answers, they are given by a great personality, Shukadev Goswami. So we can imagine the contents of Srimad Bhagavatam. Such great people are talking. So much can be revealed from this conversation. We just gave the example of spiritual master and disciple some time back. When the disciple hears very attentively, so much is revealed in the heart of the spiritual master. You can imagine the caliber of knowledge that is revealed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The great spiritual master Shukdev Goswami, the disciple is Parikshit Maharaj, and so much is explained in the Bhagavatam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam has 10 topics, and it's not that, they're just some set of questions and answers in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, there is no limit to the questions and answers given in the Bhagavatam. It's not that 8th chapter alone has the set of questions. Unlimited questions are there, and unlimited answers is there, and unlimited benefits come from the Srimad Bhagavatam if we also pay attention to the words that is spoken in Srimad. With that, this chapter ends, and the next chapter will begin with a very fantastic verse, Atra Sargo Visargascha. Very important verse. It talks about the 10 topics of Bhagavatam. Of course, I don't see a big purport, but then so much can be spoken about these 10 topics. But we'll stop here. And if you have any thoughts or questions, we can take that. Or we can wrap up early today.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Saudamani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for today's beautiful class. I have a few doubts Mataji. First one is this Vihita Anjali. In Anjali you were explaining is Vishnu. Am I correct Mataji, you were telling? Yeah. And Jalai, what did you say Mataji? I missed that. Being shaken or something like that?
Actually, jalam is to cry, the eyes, the tears, the tears that come from his eyes, that is jalam. Anjalayati iti Anjali. By when you show the Anjali mudra, this mudra when you do in front of God, it makes him so emotional that he cries for you.
So it refers
that is one of the explanations of there are so many meanings, right? One of the meanings is it even makes Krishna cry.
When we pray using this mudra.
Yeah, that's why we use this mudra, so important in the Vedic tradition.
Okay, I got it, Mataji. So then I was thinking that since our childhood we were doing we call it Anjali, giving Anjali to like Saraswati Mata and Durga Mata during festival times. So does that mean Mataji, Anjali is meant for Lord Vishnu only, or we can give it to demigods also, devatas?
Of course, we can even give it to human beings, Mataji. If only. Yes, but these are all esoteric translations or word syllables that are understood. Their meanings are realized by the acharyas, and the acharyas give different meanings. Especially when the topic of Sharanagati comes, there's a lot of analysis about how you surrender to the Lord. There are various ways of surrendering to the Lord, by falling at his feet, by folding your palms, and so on. But all these actions, they actually melt the Lord's heart. So that's why they give these different, meanings to every word. Yeah.
Okay, that means not only to Lord Vishnu, we can
Yeah,
offer it to
everybody.
anyone and everyone.
Anybody, yeah. But when you offer it to Lord Vishnu, it is very special because he feels for you like
Yeah.
nobody else.
Yeah, he feels for us like nobody else. Okay, thank you. And
Yeah.
yeah. Second doubt, Mataji. We know Prajapati refers to Lord Brahma. So
Yeah.
why he is called Prapitamaha, means forefather? Why like that?
Pitamaha, because he is the forefather of all the living entities. Prajapati, he is the leader of all the living entities. Pitamaha, because he is the forefather of all living entities. From him only everybody came, right?
Hmm.
He's the great grandfather of all the living entities. For you, for me, for the cockroach, for the lizard, for everybody, he's the great grandfather. Yeah,
So
he's the
so can we
source.
source? Okay. So can we take that great grandfather means he's a like original source. Original source is of course Krishna, but after Krishna
But
he
still,
only.
it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. And the last one, Mataji, same purport, same shloka, text 40. We got this lesson na that Brahma instruct and also he acts accordingly. You were discussing this one lesson. So immediately I had this thought, Mataji, that we know that when Brahma took all the devatas to Lord Vishnu and they were praying, and Vishnu told that, okay, you tell all the devatas to take birth in Yadu dynasty. And at that time, Brahma did not take birth, na. So why that thing, Mataji? At that time, why he just instructed, did not act accordingly?
So that he can come in the Brahma Vimohan Leela and do some mischief.
So it was Krishna's will, Mataji. He acted like that.
Yes, it's Krishna's will, and Brahma also had a role to play. Brahma came in the Brahma Vimohan Leela to enhance the pastimes of Krishna. So it is Krishna's will, yes, Mataji. It's Krishna's will, ultimately.
But actually Brahma always instructs and acts accordingly. We can take like that, na?
Yeah, definitely. He just acts as Krishna tells him. Yeah, correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. I had this doubt. Thank you so
That's
much.
a very nice realization. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tulsi Coffee Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I had a question, two questions. Before that, I would like to comment on the last question of Sodamini Mataji. I'm just thinking that when Brahmaji conveys the message of Krishna to tell the demigods to take birth, he's telling the message as it is, because
As it is, yeah.
the demons are creating havoc in the lives of the devatas. They don't have the power to cause all the way in Brahma Loka, and all they displace the up to Swarga Loka and like that. They didn't have the power to. So those the people who were seeking relief from the burden of demons were the devatas up to the right, and not the vasis of Brahmaloka. Therefore, the devatas were asked to take birth to assist, and Krishna didn't tell Brahma, you also go and take birth. So he conveyed the message as it is, and he would do what he's supposed to do, and he would tell the devatas what they are supposed to do. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, why not? Yes, Mataji.
Uh,
That's right.
Actually, my question was that Brahma Samhita is considered Shruti, right, Mataji, or Smriti? No?
Brahma Samhita is, it's not the Samhita, it's just the Brahma's compilation or his prayers. A prayer is also called as a Samhita. It's not a part of Shruti Mataji.
Okay. It's considered Smriti, or it's just considered something else?
More like a prayer, it's like a part of Pancharatra kind of texts. Yeah.
Okay.
Smriti only. Yeah.
Smriti, okay. So the difference between Shruti and Smriti is that Shruti is spoken directly by the Lord, and Smriti is spoken by others, that they
Yeah.
in their
They're
meditation.
remembering the thing
Okay.
and past time. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. That's all I wanted to ask.
Yes. Mataji. So in the Vedas, you have Samhitas, Aranyaka, what is that? Vedanta and something else, right? Those are different. Those are different from this. Samhita also means a compilation of a prayer or a revelation that has happened. So when sometimes people get confused when they read the word Samhita, they say, "Oh, Brahma Samhita Shruti." No, it is not a part of the Vedas, right? It's not that Samhita.
Okay.
It is different. Yeah.
Thank you, Mother.
Yeah. Hari Om. Okay, so we can end here. Thank you all so much. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya. Hey, by the way, sorry, let me finish. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Next Thursday we will take off because it's Balram Purnima, 27th. But Tuesday we will meet. Okay. Okay.
Mataji,
Hare
which
Krishna.
part we started today? 38.
Say that again. We started from 37.
37.
Yeah. So next Thursday we'll take off, but Tuesday we'll meet. Next Thursday will be Balram Purnima, at least for some parts of USA. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Mataji, for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Right?